Hi folks, you're very welcome along to John's Garage this week. This week we are looking at a Toyota Starlet EP71, and this particular one that we're featuring this week is from 1987. Big thank you to Nina Classic Car Club chairperson Brendan for supplying his car this week. It's really appreciated, and I'm going to plug the car club if that's okay. I don't normally plug things on the channel, but I'm going to plug the car club. If anybody is looking for a great classic car club to join in the Midlands region or from whatever parts of the country you want to join it, check out ninaclassiccarclub.com or go to the Facebook page as well. A great bunch of lads there, very, very friendly and really supportive of the channel, so I really appreciate them. Anyway, Brendan is the proud owner of this 1987 Toyota Starlet DX. Now, the DX is the base model. In fact, this is as base as it gets really when it comes to the Toyota Starlet. And we'll talk a little bit more about all that in just a moment. Okay, so just as I was saying there a moment ago, this is as base as it gets. You have no central locking, you have no electrics, no electric windows or any of that kind of stuff. It's a winder. You have a choke, manual choke. The radio, I believe, was added later by Brendan. There was a radio as standard with these, but it was a pretty plain, basic particular one. I'm assured Brendan does have the original to go back into this car as well. You have no tachometer or any of that kind of nonsense. And this particular example actually has quite low mileage at 103,000, which is great. And the condition of the car backs up all of that. As well. Now, when we were filming this, it was incredibly cold. It was after being a storm, so the car got a little bit dirtier than it normally would be. But one of the things I liked most about this car was those slider controls. As I said, for the heater and ventilation, as I said, this is a 4 on the floor, 4-speed manual gearbox paired up to the 1 litre engine, or 999cc to be exact, delivering 55 horsepower. Now, I couldn't find a top speed for this car. I'm sure there is one. But I imagine it's probably about 85, 86 miles per hour, something like that. 0 to 60 time, again, I'm sure there is one. It's not fast. It's actually quite nippy. To give it a credit, it was quite nippy up to 55 miles per hour, but it kind of died off a bit after that. Hitting past 60, yeah, okay, it'll go there, but there's not much point. You're not going to get much entertainment with this car beyond that. Now, having said that, I was driving behind this car on country roads at a vintage road run that we had previously, and I was driving a much newer car, 2001 Renault Megane 1.6 16 valve, and I couldn't keep up with this car being driven by Brendan. As I said, it's 4-speed, but up to about 55, 60 miles an hour, it's very well geared, okay? It's quite nippy off the line. It's quite entertaining to drive. We took this in a good little test drive around country roads. It was actually great crack to drive. It was like being back 17 all over again. You revved the living nuts out of it across all the gear ranges. You felt like you were driving a go-kart. You felt like you were going really fast, but you weren't really. But it was immensely fun driving this car. As you can see from the sticker in the back window, it was supplied new by O'Callaghan's Toyota dealership in Clonturk. In fact, I believe they bought the car back about 10 years ago and done a full restoration on it. So it has been resprayed, it has been upgraded and renovated and not modified, sorry, but just looked after in that way. The interior space was actually incredible. I really wasn't expecting this. The feeling of openness, comfort, lots of space. I did sit into the back seat. I did fit. I'm I'm not tall, but I'm big. I'll put it that way. And I fit in there no problem, which was quite good. One of the things I love about 80s cars is the glass space in them. They're really open. They're really wide. You can see an awful lot out of it. It makes the car feel really comfortable and airy and a nice place to be. And of course, the Starlet is a nice place to be. You can see by the front there, this is a facelift model. So this is a little bit later where they softened off and rounded off the headlamps and the grille unit a little bit. One of the things with this particular one is it is a 3-door, okay? And because it's a 3-door, no sunroof, and it's DX based, this, as I said earlier on, is as basic as you can get. Now, one of the little features I actually liked when I was in the back was actually getting back out of here. At the base of the seat, you can see there's a little, you'll see it in just a moment in the video, there's a little push button for your foot, which allows the front seat to tilt forward so that you can get in and out yourself, which is actually pretty cool. There it is, you can see my fingers on it just there now. You just push it down with your foot and the seat tilts forward. It's actually easy enough to get in and out. Seat belts all around as well. Seats, they're pretty supportive. They're not pretty supportive. They're pretty hard and flat, but pretty standard for mid-80s Japanese car. Wasn't going to be any shocks there with that. As I said, the engine, about 55 horsepower, quite nice to drive. Real high profile tires, actually, 155/70 13-inch rim. Again, I actually quite like these wheels. I always love this generation. Small little just cap for your wheel bearing there, the hubcap, I suppose, literally in this case, and small little steel pressed wheels. I quite like steel pressed wheels matched with a nice hubcap. I'm not against it. I know everyone nowadays loves alloys and all that, but not against having a nice steel wheels on a car. I don't think that takes too much away from it. Driving it, as I said, it was nippier, a lot nippier than I expected, up to about 60 miles per hour. And I wasn't expecting that. I had an inkling it would be from trying to keep up with it previously. Great thing that sold these back in the day. Cheap insurance, cheap tax, cheap running costs. Even to this day, these things are very, very easy to run, very easy to get parts for. Wouldn't really put anybody under too much pressure. And if somebody wanted a brilliant starter classic, this is probably the way to go, is to get something like this that you can run on a really limited budget, but that there's great supply out there for. Of course, the gearbox, the engine, everything in these is tough and simple and rarely gives any trouble unless you really, really abused it. These cars should run forever. What else is there to say about these? I have an image, just thinking back to the 80s and 90s of these cars. 3 people drove them, 3 types of person. You had a housewife, you had a young driver, and you had a nun. But the thing is, they were the people who bought it originally. As these things aged out a little bit, you got younger drivers in there who just passed their license and wanted something they could modify very easily. Maybe stick a bigger exhaust on, that they could get cheap insurance on, stick big alloys on. I remember these cars being actually done up and driven quite hard. Now, the thing about them was, a lot of people at the time imported them from Japan, and of course that meant they got the 1-litre turbo. So these cars could shift and shift very, very quickly. So you could either mock your car up to look like a turbo, or you could have a full-on proper turbo, and nobody was going to know the difference, okay? Obviously, probably created a few issues for people come insurance time when it was found out that maybe the car was a lot more powerful than it was supposed to be, or maybe that it was modified and so on and so forth. But listen, lovely cars. A lot of people have great memories of them. As I say, it was a nun's car, housewife's car, and I know that that's maybe not the modern way of expressing it, but that's the way it was at the time. And the other thing is, they were the boy racer car. These were a boy racer car of choice down where I'm from, around Nina and Tipperary. They were everywhere, and they had souped up exhaust, big loud exhaust, modified engines, modified suspension, modified interior. These cars are really easy to work on, really great starter car. And even to this day, they still make a great starter car, but values are going up. Boxy Starlets are bloody expensive. Like I remember a time when you couldn't give these things away, and now, whoa, you're going to pay thousands for a good one of these. And this particular example is a good one, okay? It's not perfect, it's not without its sins. Rust can affect these. There's a couple of little signs of it around the place, but listen, that's small fry really in the grand scheme of things. It's a beautiful car, it's in great condition, and I'm really, really delighted and honoured to be allowed to take it for a spin. And as I say, fun car, fun car. Next week, folks, you're going to get a history video of the Toyota Starlet EP71. There is also going to be advertisements in that, a couple of short clips probably from this, and any other clips or information I can find on the internet, I'll gladly throw it in there for your own entertainment. And we'll have a little look at the history of the Toyota Starlet, this particular generation that ran from 1984 to 1989. Would appreciate people if you could make sure to like, subscribe, and share the videos. Really appreciate the shares and the comments, and especially join the channel. It'll help us to grow the channel over time, and it is, please understand when I say it's really hard to get YouTube's algorithm, especially when you're based in Ireland, to actually pick up on these videos. So as I say, anything you can do to help is much appreciated by myself. Anyway, listen, thank you all very much. We're going to wish you all a happy new year, because that's going to happen in a day or two. And yeah, happy new year to everyone. Thanks very much for joining John's Garage and for viewing all our videos. Cheers, folks. Bye-bye.